I'm Mark Babbitt, CEO and founder of U-Turn, and you are watching Eye on Business.
Welcome to Eye on Business. I'm Kevin McDonald, and with me this evening is Tao and Ray Chang with K5, that is K5 Launch. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming in this evening. I appreciate it very much. I understand that K5 is on a mission to bring good attention to and help entrepreneurs here in Orange County. So if you guys could tell me a little bit about what got you started with K5.
I think the genesis for K5 started because we wanted to do something for Orange County and recreate an environment that was friendly for entrepreneurs. What we've seen was that other parts of especially in California, Northern California, Silicon Valley, and New York City, the reason why entrepreneurs flock to those cities is because there's a proper ecosystem and a proper environment that supports the entrepreneur, provides the necessary mentorship, the necessary support, and the necessary advice, and more importantly also the necessary funding to ensure that a lot of the risk points are mitigated and that the companies succeed. And so when those companies succeed, the entrepreneurs reinvest in new companies and it develops a full recurring ecosystem that makes it successful. And being a new Southern California, Orange County resident, I look at the lifestyle. I wake up in the morning, I look at the ocean, I look at the 72-degree weather. You know, coming from the East Coast, this is a phenomenal place. I want to stay and build a lifestyle here and ecosystem and a company lifestyle over here to benefit the greater community.
So you guys are trying to pull us out of the shadow of Silicon Valley, I like to say, right? For those that are not familiar with what an accelerator does, can you give people a little bit of an idea of, okay, so what is an accelerator?
Well, it's a 3-month program, and what we try to do is to look to find entrepreneurs with great ideas, and we want to make sure that we can help them out also and accelerate them in this 3-month period to the next milestone. The next milestone could be a VC-ready or angel-ready company, so that they can basically turn from an idea stage to a ready stage company in 3 months.
So for those that aren't familiar with that, angel investing is the earliest investing after your friends and family, and then the VC is the venture capital that comes in on top of that. I understand that you're working with the Leatherby Group at Chapman University. How does that working?
Basically what we do is they have a e-village, entrepreneur village program, and they have programs, they have mentorship, they have a place for the students. K5 basically is a end game for them.
Got it.
So they then go through all the training programs, lessons, classes through the university. And for us, basically what we'll do is we will have an actual boot camp 3-month program on campus, so that their students can come in and basically experience the life of a startup company by helping us out and by going and experience and get basically a lot of education and knowledge.
So where do they start? I mean, do they register with you? Is there a contest they have to win? I mean, how does someone get to be allowed the opportunity to be part of your accelerator?
So we launched a formal application process where over 200 companies applied, prospective teams. What we ask for generally for the companies that apply is that they come as a team. So it's not a single-based entrepreneur. It's a minimum of 2 founders. And so what we're looking for is companies that we can help out over and to make a difference with our network and our connections and our industrial experience, operating experience over a 3-month period. So the key thing is really to find revolutionary ideas that we can help accelerate. And part of that acceleration process is identifying what the milestones will be for the company. And where the company is existing today and how it will transform itself in 3 months so that it becomes presentable, because we're all professional investors,
Right.
and we know the qualities of companies that succeed. We've identified very carefully the reasons why certain companies succeed and why other companies fail. And so our goal is to investing by itself can be a risky business. So our perspective as mentors and accelerators is to mitigate that risk by identifying what all the key metrics are and what the key risks are, and solving those problems early on.
So let's talk about that. What maturity level do you expect people to be at? Is this a napkin with a great idea, or is this somebody who's already run their credit cards to the hilt and is trying to make it? I mean, what do you look for in the way of an opportunity from an entrepreneur?
I think a lot of the opportunity boils down to a company that has already created a prototype of a product or is pretty close to finishing the prototype of the product.
Okay.
And some of the questions they need answered is, we believe in market validity for the product. So instead of spending 3 months doing due diligence and writing business plans that have no real-time market validity, we bring it out to market as quickly as possible.
Got it.
Once we bring it out to market, we let the market decide and tell us whether this product is going to succeed or fail. And if so, what is the feedback and the necessary pivoting and readjustments that you need to do to create that success?
So how much of a platform do they count on with you as they go forward? I mean, it sounds like there's a 3-month program, but are you then cutting tentacles and expecting them to go off on their own, or do you guys remain as advisors to the organization? How does that all work?
What we're looking to create is a masterful alumni network.
Okay.
Again, in creating a proper ecosystem, you need success to breed more success. And part of it is a continued involvement by ourselves as the leaders of this group, and for every success story that we create as alumni to reinvest in the group and reoffer their experiences.
Okay.
So the key factor is when they've come out with their product and they've tested it out with the market, and the market has demonstrated probability, as mentors we can teach them how to scale the business, how to grow it rapidly. And that's where capital plays a good hand, because there's a reason to provide the capital, because you know that this capital is being put towards useful growth.
And you can keep them from making the mistakes that every new
entrepreneur
makes,
goes
right?
through.
I mean,
Absolutely.
we all do.
Right.
I fully
Right.
understand
Sure.
that. You said about students, though. From what I understand, this is more than about college students. So who can apply for this program?
Pretty much anybody can apply for the program, as long as they have a good team, good ideas, and good the product is merit, and they have the drive. They can apply for the program. And as long as for us, as long as we can help them, we can accelerate them in 3 months, then we accept them.
So at what point do you start the marketing push for K5? I mean, consider myself to be somewhat of a heavyweight in the industry, and I've never heard of you guys, so I'm really excited to hear what you've got going on. Is there a point at which we're going to see more from you out in the public, or is this a good place to start? I mean, I guess kind of the question for...
We don't really publicize ourselves.
Okay.
We like to go out and talk to people and know the people and find the people. So basically, it's a lot of hands-on approach versus publicize and we're here, apply to us.
Right.
Because to us, the key thing is a lot of entrepreneurs down here, they just because, as guys say, there's no ecosystem here to support them. Everything's very loosely connected, and they're lost. It's scary journey.
I like to say the businesses are very much like the families. They're isolated in their own little houses, inside their own little boxes.
Absolutely, yeah.
They don't talk to their neighbors, and nobody knows
Right.
what's going on around them.
Exactly.
And, yeah, no, I I fully recognize what you're saying.
That was one of the
And
biggest
I'm excited to see what you guys are
motivations-
doing. I really am. Say it again.
That was one of the biggest motivations, because I came out here and I was like, where's the network and where's the support group? And why are the neighbors not talking to each other? And you look at the amount of great entrepreneurs that are based out in Southern California. More importantly, people who succeed elsewhere all choose to settle back down in Southern California and Orange County. And so it really makes no sense for people to start their businesses elsewhere, create wealth elsewhere for other communities, and then to come retire in Orange County.
Yeah, support the real estate market and the tax base and the schools and everything else.
Yep.
Exactly.
Somewhere else.
Sure.
And for those who aren't aware, there's actually a vast amount of business already being done down here. I'm really excited you guys are helping to bring some exposure to what's already happening here as well, because as you guys become more successful and as K5 becomes more successful, people will look a little more closely. And very close to half of the tech business is already being done in the southern state. It may not be in a central little valley like it is in Northern California, but between San Diego and LA, there's $50 billion in payroll. So I like to see you guys putting some organization around it.
Sure.
So where do you want to be in a year? I mean, what's your hopes for K5, and what would make you say, hey, we've been successful? What would be the result that would cause you to be, proud of what you've done?
You want to start?
I think to us, I think if we can reach out and find those bright, brilliant entrepreneurs that want to start business, and if we can help them out and show people that actually there are a lot of good talents here. And as long as we can help them and give them some support, ignite them to the next stage, we can prove to everybody, government, state, university, that, wow, something can happen here. That will be successful.
Well, there's some really great people in this county, and I think it has a history of doing the right thing. So I'm glad to see you guys doing it, and I'm really looking forward to seeing your success and possibly having the opportunity to talk to you a year from now or maybe later and see where you are and talk about your successes as well. So I want to thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
I hope we have an opportunity to talk again. My name's Kevin McDonald, and you're watching Eye on Business.
Hi, I'm Dr. Henry T. Nicholas III, and you're watching Facets Television.
Hi, I'm Sandra Hutchins. I'm the Sheriff Coroner of Orange County, and you're watching Facets Television.
Hello, my name is Judge Jim Gray. I'm retired from the Orange County Superior Court, and you are watching Facets Television. Hello, my name is Jim Gray. I'm a retired judge from the Orange County Superior Court. I was on the bench serving you for 25 years, and I'm proud to say it was a wonderful job. I was blessed to have it, and you're welcome to come into our courthouses anytime. It belongs to you. And talk to the judges too, talk to the bailiffs. You'll be pleased with what you see. But one thing that's really disturbed me, I'm a libertarian, and I have seen what works and what doesn't. In fact, if you want to label me, you could call me a pragmatic idealist, I suppose, which is basically being a libertarian. But let's talk about our nation's health care for a minute, because that is a system that is suffering greatly. Why? Because of the government. Look, I'm in my middle 60s now, and when I was growing up, it was simply not a topic of conversation at all as to I can't find reasonable health care for reasonable prices. That just wasn't discussed. It wasn't true. It wasn't an issue. Same thing with emergency rooms. We didn't have them going out of business. We had emergency rooms as needed. But then around the middle 1960s, Lyndon Johnson as president put in Medicare, got the government more and more involved in our healthcare system. And you know what? It continues to get worse. And now look at it. You know, the problem is the government is dictating to the insurance companies what they must cover. Well, insurance companies already have a contract with you as the insured saying, we'll give you this coverage, we'll give you that coverage for this price. Then the government comes in and says, oh, in addition to that coverage, you now have to cover, hair transplants or in vitro fertilization or all of these things that the insurance companies didn't count on. So then they look to cutting their costs. They can either go out of business or they have to do what the government tells them. So they want to stay in business, so then they look to cut their costs. Where can they do that? The reimbursements to the medical professionals. My wife is a physical therapist, and she complains about this with regularity, and she's right, or medical doctors or others. And so they start cutting these things. So now my wife and others can't give the treatment that they want to or that are needed because they can't stay in business, and they have to reduce their services for, of course, the less amount of money. These are problems that can be overcome. How? By getting the government out of this. And I'm going to give you two examples, because today there are two areas where you, I, or anyone else can get good quality medical care for reasonable competitive prices. What are they? LASIK eye surgery and cosmetic surgery. Why? Because the government's not involved. Insurance companies are not involved. So if we were to have something like a medical savings account where you or your employer would put $4,000 into a bank account, in effect, with an ATM. Then you go see your doctor and you say, well, doc, you know, do I really need an MRI? Well, how much is it going to cost and what will it do? And you compare and you get competition. And then when you say, okay, I think you're right, I will pay X dollars for my MRI, then you swipe your card, the money immediately goes into the doctor's account, and it's taken care of. What will happen? Prices will go down because competition will come back. Doctors will start talking with their patients, because today you can go to any doctor, any hospital, and you say you need an MRI, money isn't even discussed. Doctors don't even know how much it costs. Stupid. So we need to bring competition back into healthcare. Today we're galloping in the wrong direction, and we have a terrible system and a deteriorating system to prove it. I believe that the best way of talking about this was the comment made that if you think medical care is expensive now, wait till it's free. That's P.J. O'Rourke, and he's right. We need to get the government out of healthcare, and then we will get our excellence back. Mark my words, I have seen this happen. It will happen again. Get government out of healthcare, and we will get our excellence back. That's my view from In the Chambers. If you have further questions, go to my website, www.judgejimgray.com. Lots of interesting information there. And you can contact me. I will respond to you by email. Give me a call. Give me a contact. Let's talk about these things. We can only get better from here. That's my view. Nice to talk with you. I'll talk to you soon.
Hi everybody, this is Mama Kim. I recently did an appearance on the Ask Dino show, and let me tell you something, it was a great time. What you're about to see is a surprise impromptu interview given by Dino about 3 nominations he and a project he is producing was nominated for by the Los Angeles Music Awards. He also speaks of making your music great, very important. The interview took place right after one of Dino's shows on the Ask Dino show set. The music you are hearing is from the new Resurrection CD. They received 3 nominations: Best Rock Album, Best Guitarist Joshua Paracchia, and Best Rock Drummer Dino Maddalone.
I'm Kevin McDonald, and I am here on the set of the Ask Dino show with Dino Maddalone. A little uncomfortable. I'm sure Dino's not used to being interviewed himself, so I figured we're going to take the opportunity to talk with Dino about some really cool things that are happening in his life. Dino, thanks for having me in your studio.
Thank you for being here. That is great, man. I'm having a good old time.
I hear you have some really exciting stuff going on. Can you tell me a little bit about the award or nomination that you have?
Sure. I've been producing a record for Joshua Pariah for the last 6 months. And we got nominated for Best Rock Album and Best Guitarist for Joshua Pariah and Best Drummer for me, because I played drums on the record. So we got 3 nominations so far at the Los Angeles Music Awards.
Now, from what I understand, there's like, what, 1,000 plus entries in that?
About 20,000.
20,000 entries.
And the entries are not just from Los Angeles; they're from all over the country.
And you are coming out in the top 3 or 4 so far.
So far, hopefully, yeah. I've already won Record Producer of the Year for the LA Music Awards from 2008, 2009. So I've been dealing with that with these people for a long time. But it's a great. Al Bowman is the EP of the show, and it's a great show.
So you've been doing a show for quite a long time, interviewing other people. So I'm going to ask you a few questions.
Sure.
You know, who is Dino Maddalone? What are you about?
Oh God. Well, that's a good one. Actually, pretty much my work. I'm a good father first, and I work a lot. I own a studio. I've owned 4 studios in the last 25 years, and I work quite a bit. So pretty much my work. I like to get out every now and then and do things. It's been tougher lately because it's been very, very busy. But I'm pretty swamped with work at this moment. So you can say I'm kind of a workaholic.
So when you say you have a studio, is this full pre and post production? Do you bring musicians into your studio, or are you doing work after studio? What is your studio?
Well, we do everything there. Actually, Gordon Michael, who works with me at the studio, we do. Well, actually, I'm a record producer first and foremost.
Okay.
So I produce records. Artists come in the studio, or they hire me, or they just come in and use the studio. But we also do television and film there too. So we do post production. It's called sound design. So we'll special effects. We'll mix in sound effects and then mix the entire movie. And then I also compose music for television and film too. So we do. It's a pretty much self-contained studio. It's 2,000 square feet. It's got 7 rooms in there. We got everything known to man in there, and it's proven over the years. It's a very proven studio. So yeah.
You don't develop the relationships that you have with some phenomenal people that I've seen on your show in the past without having some real professionalism yourself. What makes Dino different from other producers?
I care. I really care about the music. What I've learned over the years is that your work is your calling card. And so if you don't do it great, and this is what I always try to tell my artists, if you don't do it great, records do not come with a set of excuses. So when you see a record, there's no like, well, there wasn't enough money. Yeah, there wasn't enough money, and we didn't have enough time to mix. Nobody sees that. They just know, is it great, or is it suck, or is it mediocre? You have to make everything great, because everything you do, if your name is on it, it's going to come back to you as great, or if it sucks, it will come back to you too. So you have to make it great. So, that's what makes me different is I care about the music, I care about my artists, and I want them to be great. Because the job as a producer, it's really a tough job, because your job is to make somebody else great.
I noticed that in the show, that the show really isn't, even though it's called the Ask Dino Show, it's really not about you. It's about all the people that you bring on, and your love for music and the people that you work with comes through in that. So I can appreciate what you just said. So, what's next for you? I mean, you got this great show, you got this great studio. What do you see? If you were king for a day and you could have the dream of your life, what would it be?
2 weeks in Hawaii.
No. Yeah, that's certainly good to have.
I know. What I want to get more. I love producing records. I love television and film. That's like a newer medium to me. I haven't done as much in that, even though I've done a lot. Anything to do with TV or film, because the paint, the easel is so much broader with television and film. You can get away with all kinds of stuff. But when you do music and records, you got to do your format and this and that. But so I love television and film. So anything to do with television and film. Plus, I love my television show, the Ask Dino Show. People always call me and ask me for advice, and I would have consultation sessions. I would charge them, I would charge them an hourly rate to talk to me. So I said, hey, why don't I just do this on television? Why don't I do this? Why don't I get artists down there? It is, they ask me questions, but they ask me, but then they ask me questions to ask them. So that's why it's the Ask Dino Show. You ask me, and then you ask me to ask them. So that's why it's the Ask Dino Show.
Well, thank you for allowing me to come on your set.
No, I appreciate
talk to you today.
It's
been great. And
yes.
I'm Kevin McDonald, and I've been here talking with Dino Maddalone on the Ask Dino Show set.